Good morning and welcome to today's webinar. Today we'll be covering multi-inspector features, multi-inspector company features, and company settings that are available when you use HG services. This webinar is recorded and will be available to watch later on. To begin, I'd like to explain the three different roles that are available for multi-inspector companies. The first one is the owner role. The owner can be an inspector. The owner could be somebody who maybe doesn't do inspections anymore but manages everything, maybe is active in reviewing reports of their employees. An owner could also be someone who is not as involved in the business, but just make some of the bigger decisions. We also have another role called the manager status. The manager status is basically almost the same thing as an owner status, but the owner status has more responsibilities. They can call into HomeGauge and they can make some major changes, with their accounts and payments and things like that. Another big thing that separates the owner status from the manager status is that the owner status, you can actually elect to have the owner status have control over the time release messages that go out. Those are called TRMs. If you don't know about TRMs, I would actually encourage you to watch a future webinar on those. They're very useful. And then another thing would be the editing of report notifications, the email templates that go out to your customer, letting them know that the report is ready to be viewed, or the email templates that go out using the appointment manager, letting them know an appointment is booked. Those templates you can designate here in the dashboard if you want the owner to be the only one who can control these templates. The manager does not by default have permission to control those if you have that setting set. But let's say that you have a manager that you want to be able to control these template editings, and you also want them to control the TRMs. Maybe the owner really isn't as involved in the day-to-day operations. Call into HomeGauge or shoot us an email, and we can actually designate that manager as the specific team leader. Once they have that team leader designation, then all of the TRMs that they have on their dashboard, all of the report notification templates that they have on their dashboard will be the same across the board for every single member of the company. A manager role can also just be an administrative role. It doesn't have to be an inspector role. It can solely be somebody in an office who books inspections through our appointment manager, who follows up on emails, maybe records payments, and that kind of thing. So an admin status is the same as manager, but the admin person is not actually out inspecting and uploading their own reports. The third role would be the inspector role. The inspector role has some limitations, and I'm actually going to go over that. I'm going to show you what the owner or manager dashboard looks like, and then I'll kind of toggle back and forth between the inspector's dashboard so you can see a difference of what an inspector sees. Certain features are not available for them to see. And we'll go over all that. I'm going to be using the owner's dashboard because it looks exactly the same as the manager's dashboard. So just know that they have all the same categories and stuff, the manager and the owner. It just comes when you're using those TRMs and the editing of report emails where there can be a little bit of a difference if you select that. Okay, and to begin, right now I'm looking at the owner's dashboard. We have a fictitious multi-inspector company up here. And one thing you'll notice is up at the top it says reports, and it has the owner's name. There's a little button right here called user. if you click on that, it drops down with the other people, the other inspectors in the company. And you can actually click on someone's name, and now it pulls up all the reports or agreements, any kind of document that that inspector has uploaded to their dashboard. And you can toggle pretty easily to all your inspectors' uploaded documents. Now I'll just go back to the inspector's dashboard. So I'm going to actually go down here to Internet Explorer. I have the inspector's dashboard open in a different browser. When I click on that, you'll see that actually, so I actually logged into a manager's account. The manager's dashboard looks just the same as the owner's one. The manager has the same access up here where you can toggle between the different, all the different employees' accounts. And now I'm actually going to go into the employee's account so you can see that. So bear with me one second while I get logged in here. Okay, so the inspector's account looks like this. It just says My Reports at the top, and there's no toggle right there. The inspector's name is up here at the top right corner. So I'm just going to minimize this a little bit and bring it down here so we can kind of look at the different dashboards and see the difference between the two. Okay, so up at the top I have the inspector's dashboard, and below, or up at the top I have the owner's dashboard, Forrest, and then below I have Norm, an employee. You'll notice for Forrest he has the subcategories along this left-hand side, and the main thing to point out here is payment status. This link is not available for Norm. There's nothing there under payment status. So the owner has sole permission, as well as a manager or admin. They have sole permission to go into payment status. They can view, the different outstanding payments, how much money came in for a certain time period, and things like that. That financial data is only available for the manager or the owner to see. So that's one major thing in this category to point out. The other thing is you still see buttons available for time release messaging and editing report emails. You see the little links there, right, for the owner, but then you also see them here for the inspector. But if I click on TRM as the inspector to go into my time release messages, it still allows me to go to the page where you can manage your templates and see the different email templates available to you. You can still click on show, so maybe an inspector is curious about the messages that go out. They can click on show and they can view the different messages that are going out for their company. But if they click on edit, they get an error just letting them know that they're not allowed to do any editing. The same thing goes for editing report emails. If I clicked on edit report emails, immediately this is the message that I would get as an inspector. I would also get this message if I was the manager, but I haven't been designated as the team leader. So just so everybody's clear, you have to be the team leader, and if you don't know who that is, feel free to give us a call and let us know who you want to be the team leader. By default, it is the owner of the company. So there is a setting that I'd like to show you on how to set it up so that the team leaders, TRMs, and notification templates are the ones that everybody in the company will be using. I'm going to go back to the owner's dashboard up top here. I'm going to minimize the inspector one. So we've got the owner's dashboard, and to go to the setting where you tell HomeGauge that you want all your TRMs, time release messages, and all your notification templates to be the same as the team leaders. That setting is down here under Account Settings. When you're in Account Settings, there's a subcategory called Company Options. We'll go back over the other features in Company Options at the end of the webinar, but I'm just going to point out the one area that we've been talking about using the team leaders report notifications and TRM emails. That is right here. So some companies might not have this selected, but might assume that it is, and then some people might have it selected and actually want everybody to be able to control their templates and things like that individually. If you do want your company to be consistent with all your TRMs and notification team leaders, you would want to just check off this box right here, and that would make it, after you do that, all of the emails would be, all the notification emails and templates and TRMs would be the same as the ones for the team leader going forward. Okay, so now you know where to find that company option setting. And again, we're going to go back to the other company options towards the end here. We're going to actually start from My Reports and sort of just work our way down this menu and pop into every category that might have a company feature that you might be interested in. So the next item that we're going to talk about would be cloud transfers. If I click on, as the company owner, if I click on the button that says cloud transfers, you'll see this page. You'll see the company owners cloud transfers, all their cloud, all the items in their cloud. Again, you can have 5 reports at a time in your cloud, but all your inspectors, if they've got HomeGauge services, they'll have 5 spots in their respective clouds. And over here, when you're looking next to Change Inspector, there's a drop-down menu, and you can actually simply just click that and select an inspector, and voila! You'll be looking at that inspector's cloud. It has all the details of times things were uploaded, customer information, address, the date of the report, report ID, and the source and the size. So it's pretty easy to navigate between everybody. If you are the manager / admin status, you have the same thing. You can see everybody's cloud if you want to, if you go to cloud transfers. So you might come across an instance where you need to move a report from one inspector's cloud to another inspector's cloud. Let's say, you know, maybe you're working on a report as a team. You're both doing a really large property. And one inspector is going to compile the report and merge the 2 reports together on their PC. So you've got 2 inspectors, maybe working on companions, maybe not, maybe working on 2 laptops. It doesn't really matter. The second inspector that's working on the report, when they're done, in order to give that report to the guy who's going to go and compile and merge the reports and finish it up and upload it, the second inspector will go to HG Services, upload report to cloud. Once they've uploaded that report to cloud, the manager or the owner can go to their cloud transfers, and it's pretty simple how they move that report. Well, they actually copy that report to the other inspector's cloud so that that inspector can go to HG Services and download it onto their PC, merge the 2 reports together, and complete it and upload it and send it to the client. So the way you actually move one report from one cloud to the other is pretty simple. You just find the report that you want to move, such as this one right here, 19 Russell Street, and then scroll down a little bit, and we're going to do copy selected report transfers from Tim Taylor, that's whose cloud I'm in right here, to, and let's see who we're going to add it to. We'll just add it to Bob Vila's cloud. And then we're going to click copy report. All right, up here we have a little success notification. And if you look down here, the report is still in Tim Taylor's cloud. We didn't delete it. We just made a copy and put it into Bob Vila's. So if I go up here to change inspector, and I go to Bob Vila, now I'm looking at his cloud, and up here at the top, the most recent is that report from Tim Taylor. All right. The next part of cloud transfer is to show you the templates and settings upload. We scroll down here, and again, I'm still in the owner's dashboard, but the manager's dashboard would look the same. The templates and settings right here, this is something where an owner could upload their template, their most recent version of their template to the cloud, and share it with everybody in their company, or they could just share it with somebody individually. To do so, the owner would go to their HomeGauge software. Let's see if we got this. They would open up their HomeGauge software, go to HG Services, and upload templates and settings. So here we go. We're looking at the owner software. We're going to go to HG Services, and we're going to select Upload Cloud Templates and Settings. I do have to enter in my password first. Okay. Right here, you're going to be prompted to select templates to upload to the cloud. Okay, so we have to select a template that we want to upload. We're going to upload, our systems residential master template here, and we're going to say OK. And there we go. Template is successfully in the cloud. Just going to refresh this. So I'm just refreshing my web browser to reflect the upload that we just did. But once you upload that template to the cloud, the next step would be to go to your HomeGauge dashboard as the owner or a manager, and then go to your cloud transfers, which is right here. When you click on cloud transfers, this is what you're looking at, and you'll scroll down just a little bit till you get to templates and settings. It actually shows the template upload date and time and the size. And if you want to copy it to everybody on your company, just so that they can bring that template down really easily and have the most up-to-date version, you'll click on this Copy Templates and Settings to All Inspectors button. Of course, HomeGauge will provide a fail-safe, just saying, are you sure you want to overwrite the current templates and settings to all inspectors? When they say overwrite, basically when you copy this template to all inspectors, it is going to take the place of whatever templates and settings upload they have in their cloud. So it's kind of something that the templates and settings only has one spot to save to on the cloud. So this is just letting you know that it is going to be the only one available. And we're going to say yes. So now all the inspectors have that most recent template in their cloud available to download. And you can give a call to all your inspectors. Maybe you shoot a group text in the morning just saying, hey guys and ladies, the most current version of the template is up in the cloud. Go ahead and bring it down. This feature is pretty cool. Cloud transfer basically makes it so nobody has to share usernames and passwords. Every home inspector will have their username and password saved to their device. They don't have to do any sharing, and so it's just nice for security and things like that as well. There might be an instance where you want to send up a specific template and only share it with one person. So you can do that by going a little bit down here to your templates and settings. And instead of clicking on the copy templates to all, you'll do copy templates and settings from Forrest to Tim. And then you'll click copy templates and settings. And there you go. So that is a little information about the cloud transfer feature. Before moving on, we'll pause just to see if we have any questions coming in. Okay, so it seems like we don't have any questions about that, so we'll keep on trucking. Next, we're going to move on to the appointment manager. Again, I'm still on the owner's dashboard here, and I'm going to click on appointments. If you have not watched our appointment manager webinar, please do so. I'm not going to go too detailed into how to use the appointment manager, but I'm just going to point out some features for multi-inspector companies. Okay, so when you're in the appointment manager, I'm going to actually go first to the calendar view. This is a pretty cool thing here. When we click on calendar, this is what you'll see. This is called the daily view. We've got our inspectors' names here. Everybody has a different color, so it's easy to kind of see, and differentiate between the different inspections. This daily view works the same as the other view if you were just a one-person company. If you're a one-person company, you might be looking at this more like a calendar view, like this, which is kind of confusing for a multi-inspector. You can't really see everything that's going on, but you can hover over the appointments and see all the details, so that's a nice feature. But again, if you switch to the daily view here, I can actually double click on the appointment if I need to go into it and do any editing. I can also scroll down just a little bit to where you add your inspectors. So right now I've got Norm selected. If I wanted to add Tim, I could add Tim and Norm. Maybe they're training, or maybe it's a really large place and they're working on it together. I'm not going to actually add Tim to this example because I know Tim is busy. If you try to add an inspector to an appointment where the inspector already has an existing appointment, you'll get a big warning that says, hey, you can't do this. And I'll just show you for fun. All right, so I've added Tim to this appointment, and I'm going to say save changes. And Tim, well, I guess Tim somehow got added to that appointment. Let's see here. If I hit schedule appointment, there we go. We've got our big warning here saying that Tim Taylor is already booked. You can continue and ignore it, or you can go down and remove Tim from the appointment. And there we go. We're good. I'm just going to finish the process here. So this is all covered in the appointment manager video. Okay. Next, we'll go into calendar sharing. This is something that's pretty new, where you can actually share with the Google Calendar, and it actually updates in real time for you when you book an appointment. We used to do calendar sharing before, but it actually updated. It took a little while for it to update. So now it's a lot more advanced. You can see all the details of the appointment on your Google Calendar. I think we're going to have a short webinar on how to set that up in the future here, but it's a great tool. So, you know, an inspector right now, they would not be able to see all the other inspectors' appointments. Most companies prefer that, but there are some companies that want their inspectors to see other inspectors' jobs. Maybe one inspector was booked on the east side and one's on the west side, but one lives on the west side and it's more convenient. You know, they can call each other and coordinate swapping jobs and things like that. So some companies actually want people to see everybody else's inspections. If you do want that, the best way to get around that is to use calendar sharing via Google Calendar. So with Google Calendar, if you share your calendar to Google Calendar, then the possibilities are somewhat endless in who you can actually give permission to see your calendar. And you can actually easily access it from a mobile device, which is really nice. So if you click on calendar sharing, there's instructions on how to sync with Google Calendar. Forrest's company is already set up here, so we've already got calendar shares going on with all of his inspectors. It looks like, yeah, he's got a lot going on because this is it's kind of like a test company account. We are going to go into this in more detail in a future webinar, but I do highly encourage using calendar sharing just for the convenience of having all your details of your inspection on the palm of your hand, and then also being able to share, you know, inspectors' calendars with other people. Okay, the next area that I'm going to actually go into will be company settings. Company settings allows the owner or the manager to manage a couple options here. If you are doing public appointments, you can manage the public appointments here. You can either make public appointments live or not live. So you can click here to manage your public appointment settings. First, you have to enable them and things like that. And then if you scroll down a little bit more, we've got an area where you can put in a company notification email. So here, by default, all owners and managers are going to receive notifications when a public appointment is requested, but you can put in a company email, like a catch-all or an admin email, that you want all those notification emails to go to as well. I'm going to go back here to the company settings and point out a couple other things. This right here, days before appointments to send reminders. The owner or the admin/manager can designate how many days in advance you'll send out an appointment reminder. Right now we have it set for don't set reminders or send reminders. But most people want to do that. They want to keep everybody in the loop. Everybody's busy. It doesn't hurt to send out an email reminder. Here we set it to send out the reminder 1 day before the appointment. The next section is carbon copy appointment email reminder addresses. Anytime an email reminder goes out, you can put a company email address in here or catch-all email, office email, that kind of thing, or the owner's email right here if you want to get all the email reminders. If you use calendar sharing, you're going to want to set your time zone. And then right here, the last one is custom appointment referral sources. In the appointment manager, when you're booking an appointment in the appointment form, there's an area where you can select a referral. We have several referral sources by default, but maybe, you have something new. Maybe you're putting out an ad in a specific magazine, or maybe you're part of Angie's List, or Home Advisor, or something like that. Those are 3 things that are not part of our defaults. You could actually type that in here and select Add Referral. Now that referral is added, so when booking inspections, you can actually track, how many Home Advisor inspections you've received. Is it worth the money to you? And it just kind of helps you, figure out how to spend your marketing money and see if things are working as you think they should. So there's an area for the manager or the owner called, let's see here, Business Insights. And Business Insights will allow you to run a report on things like referrals, allows you to run reports on revenue, your services, inspectors, what agent you're using the most, what customer you're using the most, and things like that. That is one thing that I'm going to explain a little bit more about after we get through with this appointments section. So back to the appointments here. We've gone over everything in company settings. Next we'll move on to inspection services. This is something only available for the owner or an admin/manager. Inspection services is where you put all of your services available so that you can book an inspection. They have a certain price associated with it, certain time, and you can also specify what inspector can perform this service. Now for your regular home inspection, I'm sure everybody on your company can perform the home inspection. But there's some more specific types of services that maybe only a couple people do. And you can specify that in HomeGauge so that when you're booking the inspection or your person in your office is booking the inspection, only the people who can do that service are available. For example, under additional services, I have mold test here. If I want to designate a certain inspector to be the only one available to do a mold test, I just click on mold test, and it brings up the edit service window. So we've got the name, the description, the amount, the service group, and then if we scroll down to the bottom here, it says which inspectors can perform this service. By default, every service is selected that all inspectors can perform the service, but you know what? Not this one. We're actually going to only designate the owner for us, and we'll do Bob, Bob Vila. Those are the only 2 that can perform a mold inspection. So I'm going to scroll down, I'm going to select Save Service. Now for example, if I go to the calendar, I'm looking at my day view and I want to book an appointment with somebody. If I hit the little arrow here, I'm going to a day where nobody has any appointments. If I am under Norm's calendar, I can pretty much, double click on any time and it will actually automatically select him as part of the appointment. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to double click here under Norm, and you'll notice the date and the time is automatically filled out, which is great. And if I scroll down to the inspector, Norm's already added as well. Well, if I go up here to services and I go to add service and I go to additional services, I'm going to go to mold test and we're going to add 1 mold test. Okay, I've got Norm here at the bottom. And I'm going to hit schedule appointment, and it's going to say, hey, there's a problem with the appointment. There is no inspector selected who can perform a mold service. Only inspectors are four Samuels and Bob Vila. So I'm actually going to go ahead and change that. I'm going to move him over, and we're going to add Forrest. Okay, so that's how HomeGauge helps you book appointments with the correct people. Okay, so next, now that we've covered inspection services, and I've shown you that you can actually designate certain inspectors to be able to perform certain services, we'll move on to notification templates. These are the email templates that go out when an inspection is booked, changed, canceled, and that kind of thing. This option, this subcategory, is only available for the manager or the owner to see. So if we click on that and we go to notification templates, it pulls up all the different notification templates where you can edit, and all the edits that you make. If you have that option selected that I showed you in the beginning of the webinar, where the team leaders notification templates are across the board for the whole company, then any edits that you make here between all your different possible notification templates, they'll all be consistent across the board with everybody else. Any change you make when you hit save, if an inspector sends an email, it's going to reflect the changes that you made. The other area that I'd like to point out would be the agreement templates. If you click on agreement templates, this is something that only the manager or the owner slash manager slash admin person has access to. So you can modify and change or add new agreement templates. All right, so if you look at the appointment subcategories, there's a pretty long list there for the owner or the manager admin person. I'm going to bring this up just a little bit here. And for the home inspector, it's actually a lot more limited, which is really nice because it just simplifies things. You know, they're done with the report. They don't have to mess with some of these back office things. So if you look under appointments, they only have 5 different options here. They can check out the calendar. When they check out the calendar, it only shows their own appointments. It doesn't show other people's appointments. They can look at unscheduled appointments. They can create an appointment. They can share their calendar with other people if they want. And there's a little button here for inspector settings, which is simply having a text message go out to you when things are booked. It's just like a reminder text message as well. Okay, so we've covered everything, all the different features in the appointment manager for multi-inspector companies, and we're going to move on to business insights. This is, I kind of touched on it briefly when I was showing you about the custom referral sources that you can set up if you are an owner or a manager admin in your appointment manager. You can generate a report showing, you know, if a newspaper ad is doing its job, or maybe, you know, if a certain Angie's List or something like that, or your website is bringing in a lot of referrals. And there's other cool types of reporting that you can do too that would be of interest to any business owner. So if you go here, and again, we're looking at Forrest's the owner's page. I'm going to expand this just because it's a pretty good visual reporting feature. So we're going to click on Business Insights. And again, this is not available for the inspector to see. And you can choose to show a report by revenue. If you click on Revenue, it gives you a couple options here, revenue per month and revenue per service. If we click on Revenue per month, it gives us a date range. You can put in a custom date range, or if you just click right here, you get some quick options here of pretty common date ranges. So you can do custom, last year, current, last month. We're going to do the current year. And then I'm going to click Generate Report. When I click Generate Report, you'll see we've got a nice graph here showing the revenue per month for the current year. So, of course, this is a very fictitious company, and you would see a lot more revenue. Down here, it shows the total invoices and your grand total right down there. If we go back to by revenue, we can also sort per revenue service. If you click on per revenue service, it's the same kind of procedure. You'll just select your date range, and we'll do current year. Generate report. And there you go. You get a cool report just showing all the different services that are booked, the amount, and the revenue. Okay. The next type of reporting you can do is by inspections. If you click on by inspections, it pulls up several options here. The first category is business or options on the appointment manager, insights based on that. The first one is appointments per month by inspector. If you click on appointments per month by inspector, you'll have to actually choose if you want all inspectors or an individual one. We'll do all. And then you select a date range. We're going to go with the current year. And then we're going to click Generate Report. And now you can see all the different color-coded home inspectors, how many appointments per month, and then one inspector had what cut of appointments for that month compared to the other ones. And then down here you just have kind of a list as well. And of course this is a fictitious company, and your company would have a lot larger list, and you could actually download that into a CSV file to pop it into an Excel spreadsheet, and you can manipulate it in whatever way there to do other types of things that you might need to do for reporting. The next thing would be if we go back to by inspections, you can also click on lead sources. This is what I was explaining before, where you can set up those custom referrals. So when we click on lead sources, we're going to select a date range, current year, generate report, and there we go. We get a nifty little pie graph there just showing where we're getting most of our business. Looks like friends bringing most of the business for this company, followed by the internet. And these are all our lead sources. But as I showed you earlier, you can actually set up your own custom ones. Like this was a custom, the mailer promotion from January. It brought in one job. So that's how you do that. If you go back to by inspections, you can also do a report for distance traveled per month. There's a couple other report options that you can do as well. These ones are all based upon the uploaded documents. A cool one that I like to do is upload reports per city. If you click on per city and you select a time frame like the current year and generate the report, get a nice pie graph on the different areas, where's the most business coming from. I'm going to go back to by inspections, and we're going to do uploaded reports per zip code and postal code. And you can actually choose what inspectors you want to see at this point. So we'll do all inspectors, and we're going to do the current year, and we're going to generate a report there. And we've got all of our inspectors listed. And if I want to actually toggle to someone else, I just simply choose their name, and now we're looking at only the inspections for forest. and the different zip codes that he went and did inspections. So that's a pretty neat feature. If you go here to by rep or customer, you can click on this button to show the most used real estate agent. And here you can choose all inspectors or a single inspector. Select your date range. Click Generate Report. And it has who your top inspector might be and things like that. So that's a pretty useful tool as well. If I click on this link right below it, CRL Usage, this is a new feature we just added, I think, last week. This allows you to see what inspectors' reports are being used with the Create Repair Request List feature by their agents or their customers. You don't actually see the report or anything like that. You just see if they're being used. So if you just go to CRL Usage, you can choose your date range. We'll just do the current year. And right there it pops up that there are total 3 repair lists found. It shows the address of the report that was used for the CRL and the inspector. You can actually uncheck this box and display reports for only one person. So we can show Norm, no results found. Tim, we did have 1 result found. So that's a pretty cool feature as well. We are planning on adding other reporting features to this software, so definitely, just pay attention to your news alerts and things like that, because we'll be adding those things, as we continue on and try to make this dashboard, try to make it more user-friendly and have everything that you would need available. Okay, the next thing that we're going to move on to, we're going to go into contacts. When you're in contacts as an owner or a manager, if you click on ratings, it's going to show you the ratings for your other inspectors as well as yourself. I don't really have the best example right now because I only have 1 rating for Forest, but it would look something similar to like this. It would show the rating number, and it would say for who, and would show the comment if there was a comment, but that's a neat feature as well. Okay, and last but not least on the dashboard here, I'm going to go into account settings. Under account settings, if you scroll down to license and services, you'll notice that you'll have all the license and services available for your company. If you need to get, maybe somebody's computer crashed and you need to get their HomeGauge on a new computer, you can actually do it on your own. Just go to account settings, and here you go. You've got all your employees here, and it shows the details of what their payment cycle is like, when their services expires, if they're set for auto pay, if they're set to pay by themselves or the company, and things like that. If you scroll down just a little bit right here, it says your HomeGauge licenses, and your different license keys would be here for the different inspectors. So that's a good tool to know, especially if we're not around and you're trying to get it onto a new computer and activate. You do have that information right here. Under account settings, we're also going to move into company options right here. If we go to company options, as the manager or the owner, you have the ability to go in and do things like right here, the first one, notify team leader of all uploaded reports. So if you do have a designated team leader and you want them to know at any time an inspector uploads a report, you'll want to select this box right here. This is what I went over in the beginning of the webinar. If you want your team leaders' TRMs and notification emails to be consistent across the board, and whenever they make a change in real time, all the other inspectors will have that same exact change already set and ready to go. Then you'll want to check this box off right there. There's a feature where you can send all your email messages from a single company address. So if a home buyer or an agent wants to reply, they don't have to reply to the inspector's personal email or things like that. You know, maybe the inspector doesn't check their email for things like that all the time. Maybe it's an administrative person who takes care of those things. If so, you know, you might want to add this right here, a company email that's consistent that everybody will have their emails come from. There's some other kind of default settings here that you can set up. Either, you know, if you're using the appointment manager, you can have by default the request payment box to always be checked. Same with require payments to view documents. You can have that always to be checked. If you select those things across the board, everybody in your company will have those settings selected as well. Allow anonymous payments. That's something that is rarely used, and we don't recommend it. So if you don't know what it is, don't select it. It's for more companies who've been with us a while and they've been doing something a certain way that's outside of the box and not the typical way. So we don't recommend doing this because it is a little confusing, and it's only for people who pretty much have already been accepting anonymous payments. We can't really take it away as a feature, because if they didn't have it, they'd be kind of lost a little bit. So you can pretty much just ignore this if you don't really know anything about anonymous payments. Send team leader payment confirmation emails. That's something that you can select as well. So if you want the team leader to get an email anytime a payment goes through, you'd have that box selected. Over here, this is another company feature that you can select across the board. The create repair request list, if you want to enable it, turn it off or turn it on, and things like that. This is where you do that, and it would select it across the board for your whole company. Also for Secure 24 ADT, there you go. If you select this, it will select it across the board for the company. Everybody does have to have an account set up, but that's how you would enable it. And then whenever you're done setting those company options up, you just hit Save Company Options, and there you go. All right. Well, I've gone over all of the company options and features that are available when you use HomeGauge services. In closing, I'll let you guys know that if you are adding more people to your company, I would recommend giving a call into support and letting us know. We can help you. Basically, when you have all of your settings in your HomeGauge software, as an owner or a manager or something like that, before an employee actually starts inspecting and they're just getting the software in their computer, we can help you actually get all the settings to mirror your settings. So what we would do is you would just give us a call if they already had the software as the owner or the manager. We would have you go to HG Services, do a backup of your user settings, a fresh backup. The backup would copy your things like your logo, your pre-inspection agreement, if you have it on here. It would copy over all your templates. Little things like maybe your summaries at the beginning of the report. It would copy over things like your your style and format. Maybe you have grid 3B and you have it InterNACHI blue. You want all your reports to be consistent, so agents think it's all coming from the same company. It's all part of branding, right? This kind of stuff is all backed up when you do the backup through HG Services. What we would do, we would walk you through some steps to restore your services onto the new employee's computer. And basically, instead of reinventing everything and bringing over an I don't know, a logo file and this and that and whatnot. If you do that and give us a call, it's so much easier and everything. They're not calling us later just saying, hey, I'm missing my logo, or I'm not using the right agreement, or things like that. We've got everything for them, starting out correctly from the beginning. So I love that everybody's expanding their companies and adding new folks to their teams. But yeah, definitely give us a call. We're happy to help you out and get everybody started on the right foot. All right, and if you have any questions from this webinar, feel free to email us, and you can always call 828-254-2030. And I bid you adieu and have a great day.